Live from the KHOU11 studios, it's Great Day Houston. And now, here's your host, Deborah Duncan.
Coming up on Veterans Day, in fact, it's this Monday. Our studio audience is filled this morning with active duty troops and vets. Later in the show, we'll tell you about the big celebration at Minute Maid Park to honor our servicemen and women. So welcome. Thank you very much for being with us this morning. But when it comes to the all-American things we hold dear, obviously freedom is one of them. Another, football. Especially in Texas. The Dallas Cowboys have been referred to as America's team, and in the 90s, they ruled the game with 3 Super Bowl wins. One of the players who made it all happen was in Houston recently, Emmitt Smith. His accomplishments led his induction into the NFL Hall of Fame. He earned extra points with fans when his feet made a touchdown on Dancing with the Stars. He won that 3rd season. While many athletes can feel lost after their playing days are over, Emmitt Smith looked forward to setting new goals. I had a chance to sit down with him and find out what drives him. Emmitt, the last time I saw you, it was 19 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long. Does it feel like those days in Dallas when you had those back-to-back Super Bowls, does it feel like it's been 19 years ago or like it passed by quickly?
It feels like it has passed by so quickly. It doesn't even seem like it's been 19 years ago, but when you have 5 kids and you're able to reflect over those, the 17-year-old, you're like, yeah, 19 years is come and gone. Yeah. Real quickly.
You're the kind of athlete who, let's face it, we all love winning athletes. But the other thing that you had is that you represent, I think, a lot of what is in a lot of us. And that is when someone told you you couldn't, you said, just watch me. I'm going to go back to when you were coming out of high school. And recruiting expert Max Effinger said of Smith, Emmitt Smith is a lugger, not a runner. He's not fast. He can't get around the corner. When he falls flat on his face, remember where you heard it first. Do you remember that quote?
Yes, I do. Yes, this is the second time in 10 days I've heard that quote. And Max Effinger was this big-time writer, sports writer, and talked about high school recruits and so forth. And, you know, that's just the way life is sometimes. Sometimes people believe certain things based off of statistics and certain sizes that are required for a certain level of success. And unfortunately, during the time which I came up, that mold was broken.
And what lesson did you learn from that?
Well, the lessons that I've learned in life is this: if you focus on the negative too long, then you will be consumed with nothing but the negative. But if you can turn that negative, look at that negative and turn it into a positive, and utilize that as a reminder of how hard you have to work in order to be successful at anything in life, then it can serve as a motivating tool. Yeah. And so if I can get my thoughts out the way and just respond and react, then I can allow my natural God-given talent to take over.
Yeah. You grew up in Florida, where we know the Gators football is huge. Texas, Friday Night Lights, football is huge. Mm-hmm. But we also battled that thing, I think a lot of parents and a lot of schools, academics versus extracurricular activities like sports. There are great lessons to be learned from playing a team sport that sets you up for the rest of your life.
Yes,
we can't forget that.
I agree with that 100%. I credit team sports with all of my success. Reason being is because whether or not you're looking at a team that has to come together with different personalities, different religions, different cultures, everybody have to come together for the common good of the team.
It's a metaphor for a world.
Exactly. It is what it is. On a team there isn't racism. On a team there isn't financial disparity. On a team, the team itself has one goal in mind, and that is to get the game plan, go out there and execute against it, and then win. Because when you win, everybody on the team wins. Everybody celebrates. And when you have a role within that, then people are relying on you to execute against your role and do that to the best. And so if I don't, I'm letting my teammates down. If I do, then I'm helping my teammates win.
What you also were able to see, besides just what happens within a team, is what happens to a community.
Right.
As I mentioned, I was living in Dallas with the back-to-back Super Bowls, and you came back and did it again. And what it did to the community was amazing as well.
It gave Dallas new energy.
Besides J.R. Ewing.
Yeah, J.R. was doing fine. I mean, matter of fact, it elevated J.R. to a whole nother level, because Dallas at the time, before those 3 Super Bowls, were kind of somewhat in in a stagnant state. I mean, on Mondays, everybody was upset because the Cowboys was losing. I mean, in '89, they were 1-15, so everybody was ticked off. Then in '90, we went 7-9. Everybody had had a little bit of hope, and then in '91, that hope became a reality. You know, the team was starting to flourish into the role that everybody had to expect.
Then you couldn't find anyone who wasn't a fan.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh no,
yeah.
I was always hanging with the Dallas
exactly.
Cowboys.
You had a whole bunch of bandwagoners, and then all of a sudden you had people that were jumping back on the ship. But the Cowboys got it going all over again. I forgive Jerry, even though they hated Jerry when he fired Tom Landry and he brought Jimmy Johnson in. That's just the way things are. Think about this: if Bill Gates didn't believe what he believed about the personal computer, where would we be at today?
Yeah.
If Steve Jobs didn't believe what he believed when others said that this is not going to work, we wouldn't have the gadgets like an iPhone or an
Yeah, and we're
iPod.
the home of Houston of NASA.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
They believed it
the
couldn't
same
happen.
thing. If you can't go to the moon, why would we need NASA right now?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, everything, all the successful people that I've seen, someone has said something negative about them and what they've been able to achieve.
You ended up breaking a lot of records, so you weren't just with a winning team. You personally had a lot of accomplishments. Is there one record that you kind of bit your tongue and you hated to break because you had so much admiration for that person?
No, there isn't one. And the reason why there isn't one, because I do know this: records are made to be broken. Even for myself, if I broke a record, I know that someone is coming behind me. And someone will probably end up doing the same thing someday.
And that's what Walter Payton thought about you. Because
Exactly.
Tempe, Arizona, it was the Super Bowl. I was in a shoe store, and a man turned around and said, "What size do you need?" I said, "A size 9. Are you Walter Payton? He goes, "Yeah." He was just standing in the store
Right.
and messing around. But yes, and he knew you were coming. Eventually, you were coming. You mentioned kind of the things that you learned doing team sports and preparing yourself for the future. One thing you did with Roger Staubach was said, I'm interested in learning about life beyond football.
Correct.
And real estate was one of the things that you were interested in. He didn't know if you were serious at first. He made you kind of work for it.
Well, I believe he thought I was serious. He just didn't know if I was serious about leaving the game. And so, but what he did say though is, when you're ready to retire, then call me.
So when you finally played your last game, how tough was that? And then when you started commenting on games, do you kind of sit there and think, God, I have one more left in me?
No. When I said it was over with, it was over for me. When I made up my mind, I mean, seriously, when I walked off of that field in Sun Devil Stadium in Arizona for the last time, and this is what sealed it for me. Tim Brown asked me the question. He said, "What are you going to do?" And in my mind, I was thinking I was going to retire. I said, "I don't know." He looked at me square dead in the eyes and said, "Just because you can doesn't mean that you should." And I said, "You know what? You're right." And right then and there, I cut the tape off my shoes, took my shoes off, tied them up, threw them on my shoulder, walked off the football field with socks on, got to the edge of the football field right before you start going down in the tunnel, turned around, looked back, took a glance of the stadium, and I said, "This is it.
Yeah.
I'm out of here."
Then several years later, you put on some dancing shoes.
Yeah, that's a little different kind of arena, but yeah.
When they first came to you and said, "Okay, Dancing with the Stars," what was your first reaction? Because I remember you in Dallas back in the clubs. He could dance.
Well, first of all, they came to me in season 1, and I said no. It was a brand new show, not knowing where the show was going to go, whether or not the show would be on the air for season 2. So I said no, and then Evander Holyfield did it. Then in season 2, they came to me one more time, and I said, not quite. Then Jerry Rice did it, and Master P was on it. And I watched the show because of Jerry Rice, and then I ended up watching Master P at the same time, and I said to myself, if they can do that, I can do much better.
And you did.
And so, I mean, not knowing how much better I would do. I mean, because when I got on the show, then I saw Mario Lopez, Joey Lawrence, and so many others. And I was like, man, what have I gotten myself into? This is a serious competition. And not to mention, my toes were killing me with them 3-inch heels on.
All right, Emmitt, thank you very much.
Thank
Great
you.
to catch up with you. I'll see you in the next 19 years.
Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon.